What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update, and quite a bit to talk about today. And we'll start off with Arthur Veran of Royal Antwerp, as Alistair Gold says that Antwerp midfielder Arthur Veran has been watched by Spurs scouts this season, plus various other Premier League clubs. The teenager, like Nusa, could become available to clubs worth £25 million with a loan back option mooted. I really like these kind of deals that Spurs are trying to do, trying to get the best up-and-coming talent from around Europe. This guy has been making waves for the past year. He's kind of settled his way into the Antwerp team this season as well, properly, and he looks like a real prospect.
Yeah, and I was watching him in the Champions League this season. I think Antwerp were in the same group as Barcelona, and I think he scored in one of the games against Barcelona as well this season. I think just showing his talent. Obviously, I've also done a bit of research about him. There are still question marks about where he is physically at the moment, but at 18, that's no surprise.
Yeah.
Clearly, this guy's bags of potential. Do I see us? Look, if we're serious about Nusa, which we'll talk about in a minute, do I see Tottenham really splashing 50 million in January with both players being loaned back? I don't. I probably think it's one or the other for a big money transfer like that. Obviously, he's going to command a big fee, and as you say, there's a number of other Premier League clubs interested in him. So I know we're looking for a centre mid. There's obviously talk about players from the Championship as well that we're looking to loan back. So I think it's unlikely, but we splashed big money on two prospects. I do think probably just the one, so I do find it unlikely. But maybe if he's still available in the summer and he hasn't pre-agreed to join anyone, I think we revisit it.
Yeah, it's interesting though. Like, yeah, I know it is pretty fairly unlikely that we go and spend 50 million on two 18-year-olds this January transfer window. But, you know, Daniel Levy, how he likes to do it, buy before they kind of explode, and if they have a massive sell-on value, and these two could be the case of that, couldn't they?
100%. And I think the transfer business, this is what's so exciting with our current project, is that, yeah, obviously we've got great signings through the door who are helping us now, like Maddison, but we're looking at the future, which is something we've neglected in the past to do, especially under likes of Conte and Mourinho, who just wanted players now and, like, you know, sign ready-made players. That's all they're interested in. But now we're looking beyond that, which is really, really exciting. And hopefully it means down the line, our team will be set up for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's move on to Antonio Nusa now. It's your daily Nusa, as Fabrizio Romano says that Antonio Nusa Deal will enter into the key stages soon, as there's a new round of talks scheduled between Tottenham and Club Brugge. Spurs know about other clubs' interest and want to push the deal through ASAP. Dan Kilpatrick says that Tottenham do remain in talks with Club Brugge for Nusa over a deal which could see him return to the Belgian side on loan for the rest of the season. Spurs do want to steal a march on their rivals by landing the highly rated Norway winger this month, but could face competition for a deal. And reports in Norway say that negotiations have intensified between Bruges and Tottenham regarding Nusa. Both clubs plan to meet again to discuss the final details. A sale, then a 6-month loan back to Bruges is the current plan. It does feel like Spurs are way ahead of any of their rivals at the moment. You know, Romano and Dan Kilpatrick both talking about trying to get ahead of the competition. It seems as though we are at that stage, but it's about pushing that deal over the line, isn't it?
Yeah, I really hope we don't bungle this one, because it's a very, very exciting deal about one of the best up-and-coming wingers in Europe for a player of his age as well, making waves in the Belgian league. If you've seen any sort of compilations, you know, it's exactly the kind of winger we need, someone who's like really effective at dribbling, fast, direct. It's something we're really missing. And one also good thing about him is I was listening to Ali Gold last night, and he was saying how everyone he's spoken to in Belgium about him talks about his character and what a humble person he is. And he's always looking to improve. He's not like one of these prima donna teenagers who thinks he's like the world's best player. He's always looking at ways to improve and spends a lot of time on the training pitch. And I think he's a character who would fit right in at Spurs. So I really think this is a deal that needs to get done. Obviously, there's always a flavour of the month, isn't there? So everyone's guilty of whoever player we're linked with next is going to be the next best thing. But I'm just looking at the profile of player, his age, what we really need in the squad. And he's the kind of guy, exactly the kind of guy we should be looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Up and coming prospect. Seems like a bit of a wonder kid, you know. He even scored on the weekend, didn't he, for Club Brugge? And I would love to see this deal get done. Loan move back, and it kind of makes the Timo Werner deal make even more sense, doesn't it? When you're looking at trying to get this deal over the line.
Yeah, because Werner gives us a short-term option, and then hopefully next season Nusa's ready to step into the first team, or at least provide an option or be an option off the bench. And we're missing that in the front line. That's that like real sharpness on the ball, that dribbling ability. No one in our front line at the moment is like brilliant at dribbling, and scares defenders when they're on the ball. And I think he could bring that.
Yeah, he does. He completes the most dribbles out of anyone in the Belgian league already at the age of 18, which is really super impressive. Let's talk about Sebastian Szymanski of Fenerbahce. Star Gazetesi, a publication out in Turkey, says that Ange Postecoglou has identified Szymanski as a target and wants to bring him into his Spurs squad next season. The club will do everything to sign the attacking midfielder from Fenerbahce, and Fenerbahce want 35 million euros for their man. He's a player that has really good technical ability, 9 goals, 9 assists in the Turkish league this season. He's a player that I never really heard of before this season, but he seemed to have really blown up.
Yeah, seems like he's doing unbelievable at the moment. And I'm not going to pretend to know I know a lot about him because I've never heard about this guy before. And especially an attacking midfielder, 24, which is a fairly similar age to Maddison. Obviously, I think Maddison's a couple of years older. So does he want to come in and play back up to him? Obviously, Lo Celso's here at the moment. He could be leaving in the summer. We know Kulusevski can play that role as well. So I don't think it's a deal that's going to happen now, that's for sure. But maybe in the summer, once parts move, maybe Lo Celso moves on, and we need to sign a player who can play that number 10 role. He could be the perfect alternative to Maddison, which would be brilliant. But at 24 years of age, I think if I was in his mind, obviously Tottenham is a great club to join, and with the project that we're doing. But is he going to want to join a club where he's guaranteed to be the number one man in that position, which he wouldn't be with Maddison here? So I don't know. I find it hard to imagine. If he was a bit younger, maybe 2021, I could see it. But at 24, he's at that age where can he afford to come and play second fiddle to Maddison? I don't know. But with Champions League football potentially, or European football at least next season, he'll definitely be getting game time.
Yeah. Look, I haven't seen him play too many times, but I'm looking at his career. Started off in Poland at Legia. Numbers weren't great. Then he moved to Dynamo Moscow. Again, numbers weren't great. And then he got a loan move last season to Feyenoord, where it really started to kickstart his career. Got 9 goals in the Eredivisie for Feyenoord, playing under Arne Slot last year. And then this year at Fenerbahce, where he got his move, he's started to really do well. So he could be a player that is starting to kind of make his way in the world of football.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if Spurs do push the button on that one. Next up, we're going to talk about Jean-Claire Todibo once again, as Telefoot saying that Spurs remain interested in signing Nice centre-back Jean-Claire Todibo. The club have talked with his entourage about signing him. I mean, I find this one hard to believe now, to be honest. After signing Dragusin, seeing how well Ashley Phillips, albeit only 2 games in, is doing at his loan spell at Plymouth. I mean, do we really need to sign another centre-back?
Definitely not now. In the summer, I find it hard to believe we're going to drop what's required for him if he's not going to be even guaranteed. Guaranteed football. Dragusin come now in the door. I do like how Man City do things, though. They have a lot of versatile defenders who can play multiple roles, which means there's always game time for everyone. But Spurs seem to be doing things a bit different. Obviously, our fullbacks are very much, playing that inverted role. It's different to how Man City play a lot of their fullbacks. So is there much versatility in the centre-backs that we sign to give them everyone game time? If we sign a Todibo, is it a case of we're signing him to play centre-back but can also fill in at right-back, or someone like Dragusin as well? Maybe, but I think Todibo's going to want to go somewhere where he's the number one, because that's how good he is. And at Spurs, I mean, he's good enough, in my opinion, to challenge Romero and Van de Ven, but I think it's going to cost a large amount of money. And obviously you want 4 good centre-backs, but I don't know. I feel like it's a very unlikely deal now. I think there's one this January, if Dragusin wouldn't happen and he's an option, that would have made sense. But now we've spent a decent amount of money on Dragusin. I don't know if Todibo is now going to be an option.
Yeah, I do agree. And think about it though. If we do sign Todibo, does he come in and is he automatically our best centre-back?
Potentially. I mean, I think he's up there. I don't know if he's better than Romero and Van de Ven, but he's definitely, there's no evidence to say he's definitely not. That's for sure. He's having an unbelievable season at Nice. His data is incredible. He's so good on the ball, very aggressive off the ball as well, very quick, would fit into Postecoglou's system masterfully. Maybe it's a case of in the long term or something, Romero, is snapped up by a Madrid or Barcelona, maybe he can then fill in. I find it hard to believe right now we're gonna drop that amount of money when we've got 3 very good centre backs right now. As you say, Phillips coming in, Davis is 4th choice. I know next season with European football, we're gonna need more numbers, we're gonna need more depth, but I just find it highly unlikely we're gonna spend what's required to get him in.
Imagine having the centre-back options of Todibo, Dragusin, Van de Ven and Romero.
It'd be incredible.
With Ashley Phillips as like the number 5. Like, it's like the most amazing centre-back options.
Yeah, and you look at City, they got Akanji, Diaz, Gvardiol, Ake. They do have 4 very good centre-backs who could all very well start. But what I'm saying is the difference is you got Ake and Gvardiol who can both play left-back. Akanji fills in a right-back sometimes. Are we looking to do that? Or if we do sign a right-back, is it going to be a specialised one? That's the difference.
Yeah. I guess remains to be seen, but I do find this one hard to believe, to be honest. But let's talk about some potential outgoings now. And the next story is a very interesting one regarding Emerson Royale. You probably would have seen the news circulating on social media, but Tom Barkley says that Al Nassr's offer of 20 million was rejected by Tottenham for Emerson Royale, and the Saudi club are considering making another bid. Ben Jacobs says that Al Nassr haven't given up on trying to sign Emerson Royale. Although the player is happy at Spurs, Tottenham rejected a bid which was close to 25 million euros. Spurs did not counter with any specific number. Dan Kilpatrick says that Al Nassr are considering an improved offer for Emerson Royale, but Tottenham would only sell the player for big money this month. Al Nassr had an opening bid in the region of £20 million for the Emerson, rejected by Spurs, but they have not given up hope landing him. Simon Jones saying that Tottenham are keen on retaining Emerson as a defensive cover for the rest of the season at least. And Alistair Gold says that Al Nassr are expected to return with an improved offer for Emerson Royale, but with the club having no backup for Pedro Porro at the club right now, and the Brazilian having been great use to Postecoglou this month with his versatility, it would take a big offer for Tottenham to consider letting him go. Emerson, for his part, is understood to be enjoying life in North London, and having recently become a father for the first time, is showing no desperation to leave. What's your thoughts regarding Emerson? Do you think that we should be accepting a bid like this in January?
No, I don't. I think it's right to reject it. You got to remember we signed him for £22 million. I don't think his value has dropped that much, and I think 20 million euros obviously that would mean making a loss on him. Do I think in the long term Emerson is an Ange player? No. I do think he needs upgrading. I don't think he suits the system. I don't think he's good enough on the ball. But right now, with 10 days or so, 9 days left of the window, do we really want to be selling him and scrambling around for a backup right back and trying to get someone through the door in a bit of a rush? These things need to be strategic and planned. Unless we have someone lined up and we've looked at who we can replace Emerson with and we're ready to push the button on that and quickly, and Emerson's going out the door, there's no rush to let go of Emerson. And obviously he's still on a fairly I don't know when his contract runs up, but he's going to have at least 2 years left, I think, come the end of the season, and that value is definitely going to be retained. And I do think we can probably get a better offer than that in the summer. So as much as I do think Emerson needs upgrading, I don't think he's good enough on the ball to play the way we want to. I don't see the need to sell him right now, because if Porro does pick up an injury and we've got no cover, then we're a bit in trouble. So I think Emmett was absolutely right. But if we do get a really good offer in and there are other options there, then I would definitely consider letting him go. If that offer reaches 30 million, I think it's hard to say no to that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right in a sense, but where we are right now on the 22nd of January, not long left of the transfer window, it doesn't give us much time to get a target in, unless you, like you say, we do have someone lined up. I mean, with Emerson, you're looking at it, and I've been critical of Emerson this season, but it's mainly critical when he's had to fill in at centre-back or at left-back. When he actually has come in at right-back, which is not many times, I do think he's done an okay job, and I'm looking at the squad and where we need to bring in and what needs upgrading. I think there are so much more pressing issues than upgrading Emerson. Then we need a backup left back first and foremost. We've got Ryan Sessegnon there, we've got Ben Davis there, and I just feel like we need a backup left back more than anything. You're looking at the midfield options with players wanting to leave, so we need to upgrade that position first. So yes, Emerson does need to be upgraded at some point, but I don't think it's such a pressing issue. And if we get an offer that we can't refuse, then yeah, you got to accept it. But you have to have someone lined up, and I'm not sure if they have someone lined up. And I'm trying to think of, are there options, that are ready-made and available? I'm not sure that there is.
I have one.
Go on.
He's apparently available for 11 million.
Yeah.
And Newcastle set a price for him. Kieran Trippier.
Oh God, not this one.
I would do it. if you tell me they offer 30 million for Emerson and we can get Trippier for 11, put him on a 2-year deal, have him as backup to Porro, I would push the button.
Why would Trippier come here as backup?
That's another issue. I'm just saying, if he's willing to come here, it's probably unlikely because you're right. Does he want to come back up? Or he is 33, but if it's a deal that is there to be done, if Newcastle are desperate to sell him and they're willing to go as low as 11 million, 10 million, we can get him on a short-term deal. I think he's perfect for Ange Ball. I think he's one of the best right-backs on the ball in the Premier League. I know he's had a tough, last 6 weeks or so, and people are saying he's declining. But people forget for the first 6 months of the season, he was still one of the top 3 right backs in the league. He was performing at a very high level. Last season, he was right back of the season. I think if he wants to leave, Newcastle want to sell, and he's willing to come back to Tottenham and rotate with Porro, I can't think of too many better options in the short term than Kieran Trippier, to be honest.
Look, I hear what you're saying, and I agree. It is a good short-term option, but I would just much prefer to look more to the future and have a player and bed in a player and nurture a player that we can have for the long term that can provide proper competition for Porro over a long stretch of time, not just bring someone in for the short term. But if we do get like a massive offer for Emerson, there are a lot worse moves than we can do than Kieran Trippier.
I think if it's there to be done, we should look at it. But I don't think we are. I think Tottenham are very much... Obviously, we did sign Perisic last summer at a similar age, but obviously that's an outlier. I think we're definitely moving in a different direction. That's a good thing. But also, sometimes signing a bit of experience isn't the worst thing. We've seen other clubs better, higher in the table do it. Arsenal signed Jorginho at 32. City have signed Kovacic, who's 30. Liverpool signed Endo, who's 30. So it's not the end of the world to have some short-term cover while you're also looking to progress the rest of the team, like for the long term. But if it's a short-term deal and he's willing to come here, and he knows the club, I know it didn't end very well for him, but hopefully he still has some friends here. Like maybe it's something that could be looked at.
Well, there's a number of reasons why he probably wouldn't want to come back. First of all, because of the way the fans treated him in that last year. I mean, we pretty much chased him out the club. Second of all, does he want to go backwards and, be backup to a Pedro Porro, to a team in the Premier League that was, on a par with Newcastle finished above us last season? Does he want to do that when he's got offers from someone like Bayern Munich, And
is he going to be first choice there?
Who is their right back?
Well, it was Pavard, but they sold him. Obviously, Kimmich has been filling in there. I'm trying to remember who's.
I don't think they've got an out-and-out right back at the moment.
There's Mazraoui.
Mazraoui, yeah.
But I don't know if he starts every game. I think they kind of
no, Mazraoui is a player that I would take,
But maybe at 33, he obviously has a difficult last few weeks, because I think at 33, him playing every minute of every game, I think he's definitely struggled. But if he realizes, look, if you manage my games, maybe I'm getting to a stage of my career I can't be starting every game. Maybe it's a good place for him. Maybe.
At 33, he's only going to decline from here on in. I just don't.
He is, but he's still playing it. In my opinion, I know everyone's looking at his last few performances, especially where Son tore him apart, and that's sticking out in everyone's mind. And obviously he is declining at 33, but I think last season, you got to remember how good he was, and the first half of this season, I don't think he's like with a click of a finger, he's automatically done. You know what I mean? I still think he's at a good level. Yeah, but I just envisage us let's say we sign him this January and we use him from now until the end of the season, and next year he declines even more. You know what I mean? Just like, what's the point when you're going to spend 10, 11 million on someone like Kieran Trippier who's declining, which is just delaying a problem? Why not just solve the problem straight away? I agree with you, and as I say, and I completely agree. If we have an up and coming right back right now who's ready to come in, and they're lined up and ready to replace Emerson, then fine. I'm just saying, if you offer me a choice, keep Emerson, or sell him for 30 million and replace him with Trippier for the short term, and then use that time we have with Trippier to find that up and coming right back, I'll choose that option. Yeah, I don't know if Daniel Levy would see it the same way as you, though. I mean, he would probably be like, why sign a 33-year-old for 10, 11 million when, they should be doing scouting. Surely they've been doing scouting all this time on a right back when they know that Emerson isn't of the required ability. They've got to be. I don't believe that they haven't. So, I'm just saying, I'd even prefer going for like someone like a Max Aarons than a Kieran Trippier. I don't think Aarons is going to be as good as Trippier. Trippier's 33, like, what do you mean as good? Like, he's only going to be declining. Aarons is only going to be getting better. Aaron's is good, but I don't know. I don't think he's will ever be as good as what Trippier is right now, in my opinion.
But he's only getting worse, Trippier.
But I still think he's at a good level.
Right now? But how much longer for?
I think you can get a couple of years out of him.
At 33, at right back now,
come on.
He
manages games.
Not with the football that we play as well, like the amount of running that you're going to have to do in an Ange Postecoglou system. Yeah, but still, like, nah. You've actually talked me out of this deal as much as I was open to it before.
I think he can do it.
At 33 years old,
he was that good for me beginning of the season. I think he can still do it.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comment section below. Would you like to see Kieran Trippier back at this football club? Let's move on to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Florian Plettenberg saying that Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is still open to leaving Spurs this window as he wants to play regularly. Talks and ideas about a permanent deal or loan with an obligation to buy. A loan with only an option to buy is not a topic for Daniel Levy. Juventus are still interested, but Bayern Munich are not involved in the race at this stage. I mean, we've spoken to the death about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. The kind of news about him never seems to progress to anything. I do kind of see him still here at the end of this window.
Yeah, I think the problem we have as well is like the most likely time we are going to get offers for him because people know we want to sell. So the best time we're going to get the most offers is probably later in the window when people are trying to get him like fairly cheap. And if someone does come in with a suitable offer, even late in the window, is that enough time for us to, sell him and then sign a replacement? I don't know. I think that's probably the sticking point. I think we probably did want to get rid of him, but maybe earlier. I don't think we wanted to wait until the end of the window. But who knows? Maybe there is something to be done at the end of the window with a young player coming in. I wouldn't rule it out, but I think at this point, I'd rate this transfer as very unlikely.
Yeah, agreed. Brian Hill, Corriere dello Sport, saying that Brian Hill is no longer in Ange Postecoglou's plans. The club are now willing to loan the winger out, and that could include an option to buy. Lazio remain keen on signing him since Maurizio Sarri is convinced he can get the best out of him. That's an interesting one. I actually think he could do quite well in a Maurizio Sarri system in Serie A.
Yeah, why not? I think that's probably the right course of action for Ange at the moment to say to Hill, look, you're not on my plans. Because I feel like if he gives him that hope that he could still be involved in all this stuff, Hill's going to maybe jump at that and think, look, I can fight my way into the team. I just don't see that happening at the moment. I don't think he's playing well enough on giving the opportunities. We've got Werner in. I think he needs to move on for the betterment of his career. And hopefully he realises that now. And I think, under Sarri, he could do really well. And hopefully get a bit of money for him. We are going to have to take a loss. That's just reality. But I think it's time for him to move on and find a home.
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, his value is just decreasing by being here. So as much as it is a loss, it's less of a loss than probably what we'll get next year.
Yeah, probably.
And last but not least, let's talk about Ryan Sessegnon, as Simon Jones of the Mail says that there has been interest in Ryan Sessegnon, who is looking to get more game time. This is a much more pressing issue for me than the right back situation, because you're looking at left back after Destiny Udogie. There's not really much there, to be honest. You got Ben Davis, obviously he's injured at the moment, who I think can still fill in at left back, but I see him more of a centre back now, to be honest, Ben Davis. So who do we have if Destiny Udogie gets injured?
Van de Ven maybe could fill in there.
Yeah.
I think that's also a potential option. He's done it for Wolfsburg previously. Obviously, never played there for Spurs. I think if we do get an offer, we should sell, because I don't know because I honestly see him in another 6 months not having a lot of game time, to be honest. So his value is probably not very high right now. Is that only going to go down if we get a good offer right now? I don't know what a good offer looks like, because obviously we signed him for 20 million, 25 million,
wasn't it? Yeah,
25 plus add-ons potentially. So I don't see it being more than 10 right now.
Anything that you could get, in my opinion.
So I think right now we're struggling to get any offers for him. So if anyone does come in for an offer, I think we do have to accept, even though maybe leaving ourselves short. But I think we have options in the short term. I don't see him getting any game time, definitely at left wing. I don't really see him getting any. Even if Udogie gets injured, is he really going to be the player to fill in the left back? I'm not 100% sure about that. So I think we should sell if we do get any offers.
He's played 38 league games, including substitute appearances, since he's joined us. That is joke.
In 4 seasons.
In 4 seasons, he's
less
played
than
1
10
season's worth of games.
Yeah, less than 10 games a season.
It's been a diabolical. I mean, I keep going back to it, but that transfer window was like literally the worst business any club has ever made.
Well, Jack Clark ain't looking half bad at the moment.
Yeah, but we got rid of him. He was the first one out the door.
Hopefully, we got a 25% sell on him, so maybe get a bit of money for that. But yeah, he's probably been the best one out of that.
Yeah, and he's taken how long to actually like start to show some promise? He's 24 now, Jack Clark.
Yeah, true.
But Ryan Sessegnon, I just think just take whatever you can get at the moment, even if it's like something like 5 million, just take it and move on. You know, we need to start bringing in a left back in the club, and I can't see us bringing one in until all these guys are gone. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news topics we've brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.